Welcome in to Tennessee Tuesday. SCV Chat is where you're at this evening. Hope your Tuesday is going well. John Blankenship, your host of the program, along with my co-host, Jason Boshers. And our special guest this evening is Mr. Jordy Barnette, who will be introduced here in a little bit longer down the road. We'll talk about what he does in the SCV and the many projects he's involved in. So, Jason, welcome in. Good to see you again.
Yes, sir, John. I thank you for being here, allowing me to come on and do this show. It's a great show. This is really bringing the Tennessee Division Sons Confederate Veterans to the forefront. And, you know, Jordy being here to talk about everything the Bradford-Rose Camp is doing over in East Tennessee it's great. And I'm really anxious to hear the rest of the story. But I'll go ahead and tell you, the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are there not the views and opinions of the SCV, is GEC, not the division, not the brigades, not camps, or any subsidiaries. The opinions you hear here, you will hear, are only the opinions of the person that is speaking them. I hope everybody understands that disclaimer.
Man, now you've covered it all. Basically, it's only our opinion, me and you individually, nobody else's.
Nobody else's. Whatever Jordy says, that's on Jordy. He ain't speaking for nobody but Jordy.
Again, we're so glad to have you watching with us this evening, of course, on Tennessee Tuesday, our different social media outlets, as well as SCV Chat. Again, thanks to Harrison and Connor for opening up this platform to allow us to host this show each week. I know they're out and about and doing things this evening. And Jason, they fully turned it over to us tonight. And so far, man, we haven't messed any of this stuff up.
We haven't, but it's still a young night. We have a long way to go and a lot of opportunities.
Well, we'll go ahead and start out. And Jason, I want to mention that you're in my thoughts and prayers this evening. I know you're not feeling the best tonight, but I appreciate you jumping on tonight and still being a part of the show.
It is. I'm sure y'all are wondering why I'm here with a long sleeve shirt on and a sweater. I guess sometime after lunch today, got to where I wasn't feeling too good. Somewhere late this afternoon, I checked my temperature, and right now it's 101 degrees. So I still wanted to come on and do this show and to be part of it. I don't feel the best in the world, but you know what? I can sit here and watch TV and click away, you know. Absolutely. So and this is one of those things we need to be doing.
Absolutely. Well, this program, of course, this evening, if you're a new viewer to us tonight, we talk history, we talk Southern history, and most of all, we talk about our Confederate ancestors, and that's some of what we're going to be talking about again this evening. Thanks to all those that have joined us, that are commenting in the chat tonight. We do appreciate you being with us each week. We do hope you enjoy this program. Hope you learned something and have a good time. We'll try to bring in a little humor as well and just have a good evening each Tuesday. And we'll be with you till probably around 8 o'clock. About an hour is usually what this program goes, maybe a little longer. Depends on how much me and Jason talk tonight and Jordy talks. And let's go ahead and jump on in and welcome our guest this evening, Jordy Barnette, who is the camp commander of the Bradford-Rose Camp 1638 in Morristown. Jordy, welcome in.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, tell me a little bit about, we're going to talk about 3 or 4 different things tonight you guys have got going, but kind of give me the little introduction. Who is Jordy? How long have you been in the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and what's your passion? How did you get involved in history?
Well, I've always been interested in history. In high school, I kind of got a little bit into it and kind of faced what most of us face with the whole political side of it, and graduated in 13. And around 2014 is when everything really started happening with the political correctness and stuff. And I had known people. Luckily enough, I don't live far from a museum, the General Longstreet Museum in Russellville. Yep. And there was an active SCV camp there. And I had been to the museum a few times. And finally, when they started taking everything down, I said, I need to kind of do something. And the SCV was right there. Kevin Witherwell, one of our members, said, I can sign you up. One of the people that work in the museum got me his number, and the rest is history. I'm now camp commander, and no one's kicked me out yet, so I guess I'm doing a decent job.
There you go. That's a good thing. I know you guys are very active, and we're going to talk about some of those projects. One we'll get into is our second discussion, but it's a monument that you guys have been working on for a few years that is finally all coming together, and that will be ready, of course, just in time for the Tennessee Division reunion, that'll be officially unveiled, and we're going to talk about that here in a few. But, Jordy, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about what I'm going to put on the screen here is y'all have a cemetery walk that's coming up here in October, on October the 18th. It's at the historic Bethesda Presbyterian Church and Cemetery. I know you guys are involved with that cemetery and the work there. You want to kind of talk a little bit about maybe the history of the church and your involvement there, and then we'll kind of get into the cemetery walk.
Yes, I'll get a little bit into pretty much the kind of round the history up. There is this hospital. This church was a hospital during the war. It has never had electricity in it. It has been preserved. It actually at one point was a smallpox hospital and most were burned, but this one was able to be saved. This wasn't a field hospital. This was a hospital. This is where they sent all the sick and wounded. I wish I'd added a picture. One of the camp's first projects when it was founded, the camp started being founded in 93 and was to put a flagpole at this gravesite because there is a mass grave there. And so we actually have a flagpole that flies a third national flag all year round. I just actually recently put a brand new one up. We have a sunrise service inside the church every Easter. Pretty much we are trying to become partners with the owners and pretty much tell them, hey, we want to be part of the team that preserves this church. Many of our members over the years have absolutely stepped up to help this, and us younger people are trying to kind of be part of the conversation as well.
Well, it looks like a great work you're doing, and there's some of the photographs we shared. Jordy, how long has it been since the church has been an active congregation?
The church actually shut down during the war.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, the church was actually divided so much because of the war. The story is that Unionists sat on one side and Southerners sat on the other, and pretty much they just couldn't exist anymore. So the church just folded. So the thing is, this church was so touched by the war, and not only did the congregation leave, but then the soldiers moved in and used it as a hospital. And so, unfortunately, the congregation didn't survive, but fortunately, the building did.
Yeah, so it's I didn't realize it went back that far since it had been used. So, what did it ever fall into disrepair, or has it always been somewhat maintained?
I believe it's somewhat all been maintained. I mean, it would have to be with how long it's lasted. They put a roof on at one point. They're getting ready to do a new roof, is what I've been told. And pretty much Band-Aids have been put on it for years. Right now, what we're having issues with is people trying to break in to do either ghost hunting or homeless are trying to break in. One door is actually completely bolted shut because someone tried to break in. It needs a new floor. It needs to be concreted under the floorboard because it's just dirt and that moisture is coming up and it's pretty much just taking all the plaster off the wall. There's exposed brick. So there's a lot to be done, but there are a lot of people and that's why we wanted to do this. We got inspiration from the Bristol camp. They do a ghost walk up there to help preserve their cemetery. And it was like, we were told we couldn't do it. We were told that a few years ago, I was actually in middle school. We had a bunch of kids break in. They took the candles. We used to light real candles for the sunrise service, and they painted symbols on the floor and did seances, and it broke windows, and it was almost burnt to the ground. But it was, luckily enough, it wasn't. There's still wax on the floor where they spewed everything on it. So anything remotely, I guess you'd say, spooky, they've been afraid to. But once we went to the owners and we said, this is what we're actually doing, they were open to the idea.
Well, so the owners, let's talk a little bit about it. Is it a group that owns it, or is it individuals that own it?
It's a cemetery, and then there is a Friends of Bethesda that help with it. But I believe we're the most active in using it. We used to have to share them every other Easter, but now we pretty much take over the whole Easter Sunday, and we pretty much run that.
Absolutely. Well, Jordy, you're getting some good comments. I guess you see there on the screen tonight. There's Michael Hardy joining us this evening. Of course, I know he's spoken to you guys. He's a great speaker and also has a great podcast and video podcast as well. So I've been on his show before, and he's one. If he says it, I'm going to agree with him because I know he knows his stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
we love having him over in Russellville.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little more about Footpaths of History, the Cemetery Walk. It's coming up on October the 18th. What does the evening look like? What do folks need to know when they get there? Kind of what's going to happen?
Well, when you go up to the cemetery, and the address isn't on the thing, but all you have to look up is Bethesda Cemetery. This is a well-documented. It's on the Civil War Trails marker through the state of Tennessee, so it's easy to find. But pretty much when you drive into the big arch, there's a big arch that has Bethesda on it. You drive in, you'll find a place to park. You'll park on the paved driveway, and you're going to find a major tent, the main tent where we'll take money and everything. And we wanted to do like other camps and groups have done with the whole, you have a reenactor representing someone in the grave. But where we had to where we were kind of blessed with the whole, sure, do whatever you want as long as you help us out. We were like, okay, so we don't have that much time to plan. So our plan was pretty much we're going to have a guided tour and walk you through the cemetery by candlelight, and we're going to pretty much go to family plots. There are many plots throughout this cemetery that have so much history. And then we're going to go to the mass graves. We're going to have some people there in uniform, and you're going to end in the church with a self-guided tour through the church where we have some artifacts we're going to have there. And we're going to have music playing within the church, and the church is going to be lit up with candles and give you the feel of pretty much the season. It's near Halloween. But people, and that's what I wanted to explain to people. I was like, people are going to come to cemeteries anyways.
That's true.
For that. So you might as well be there teaching them something. And so that was our goal, is to explain to some people that, hey, we're not doing anything sacrilegious. We're not doing anything scary. We're not decorating the church in something horror. We are teaching history while they're there. Some people are going to come for the history. Some people are going to come because, hey, it's in October and we're going to go hang out in the cemetery. Either way, they're going to learn something, and hopefully they give out a little bit of a donation to help the church.
And I really like, Jordy, it's a respectful thing, and I'm glad you emphasized on that. It's to honor those that are buried there, the memory of those that attended that church and the history of that church. Yes, it has that ghosty feel that you get this time of year that folks like. But again, a good thing coming up. So let's talk about the evening. When it starts at 7 o'clock, do they need to be there right at 7, or is it kind of a come and go throughout that 2.5 hours?
It's kind of come as go, because if you don't want to walk in the dark, if there's elderly or if you have a young kid that you don't really want them to be in the dark or something, you can come, and we're just going to do so many groups at a time. Okay. Hopefully, I'd love to see a few thousand people there. It's kind of worrisome if that was to happen, but we're going to just work a group at a time through there. Try not to overwhelm the cemetery, because as you said, even though the church shut down, the cemetery never did. There was actually someone buried there just recently. It's a very active cemetery. So the fact that, last time we had a sunrise service, I had cleaned it, and I stayed behind after everyone left. And I was actually just reading a little bit in the church, and a woman come up behind me, and her son had his funeral in the church. The school choir. Yeah, it was a very touching moment. And she says, I love that you all keep doing this. And so, it's definitely a respect thing.
It's good. Of course, it's going to preserve the history there, of course, of those buried there. And also the church itself. We've lost so many of those, Jordy. I'm sure you've seen that up your way. I've seen it down my way. And Jason, I know, has in Middle Tennessee so many of these historic properties like this, because they're historic in just their age, that they've survived this long and been lost. So what a good way to raise funds. And again, it's $5 admission. Children 13 and under get in free. So do they need to buy tickets in advance, or just when they get there, Jordy?
When they get there, we're going to hopefully in the future, we've got a list of our goal for next year. And next year we're hoping maybe we can even families can do their own tour. and to grow it. So we're going to actually start a committee. We're working really hard, not only with the SCV, our UDC chapter, the Sam Davis chapter, but also the Lakeway Civil War Society, the Longstreet Museum. Kelly Ford has been awesome. He's actually helping us get all our banners. We're making banners to go with every family and soldier to kind of tell. And then also we're hoping we're not only going to be open the 18th. So if you can't make it then, we will be open on Halloween.
All right. Okay.
I pretty much kept giving them a list. Can I do this? Can I do this? And they said, sure. So I was like, could we open on Halloween? And they said, sure. So we're not going to do the full tour on Halloween, but we will at least open up the church and let people come in. And another perk, there was a comment saying, is it protected from vandalism? Pretty much there is a lot of police presence in the area. And also there is people that live across the street. Okay. So that helps. But also while we're there on Halloween, giving out candy and letting people tour the church and the cemetery, we can keep an eye on things. So it's a double-edged sword. We can just do it all while we're there.
Perfect night to do that. And just having activities like this, Jordy, is important. It deters vandalism too, because they see people there. They know people are watching it. They know people are doing stuff. It's not just sitting vacant and people think they can do whatever.
Well, and that's the thing right now, the going into vacant buildings is a huge thing on the internet. Yeah. I mean, even if it's an old worn down Chinese restaurant, people want to go into abandoned buildings. And there's like, if you don't go when it's open, there's a little tiny window you can kind of see through it. And people are like, but I wonder what's in there. I wonder. And it's like, if you open it up, they can finally see what's in there. Yeah. So that mystery is gone. And you get to actually learn about what the building actually is and get a more of a respect for it.
And you mentioned that, Jordy, that I was just watching last night on YouTube that some of these folks, they don't do any harm, these properties they go into. They unlock, they walk around and show those abandoned buildings. There's a lot of that, as you said, going on. Some do good. They're just showing it off. Some do damage.
Yeah. And that's what we're afraid of. It could be just a kid, and then unfortunately the homeless situation in most places is getting bad. Yeah. And but right now it is well protected and it has got the attention. We're just trying to add more attention to the church by doing this event.
It's going to be a good event. Again, it's coming up October the 18th, the historic Bethesda Presbyterian Church and Cemetery. Jordy, if they want to go find out more, those that are watching us tonight and maybe later on after the video is live is over, where can they go to see the details?
Pretty much you can contact me. You can try to add on the Tennessee Division page or go to the Longstreet Museum's Facebook page. They're going to start sharing some stuff. That's pretty much who is helping us get all the information. I actually recently sat down with Kelly this evening and he was showing me all the new pretty much artifacts and information and documents and original pictures he's getting from a gentleman. And so he'll be the one to kind of lead us that way.
Well, great work you guys are doing. We're looking forward to it coming up October the 18th. So again, we'll go ahead and take our first break. Jason, let's talk a little bit about sponsors. I know that you've got there. You want to pull up before we take our first break, and we'll come back and we'll talk more with Jordy about other things the Bradford-Rose Camp is doing there. We'll talk a little bit about the Longstreet Museum and that monument you guys are putting up. And the Tennessee Division reunion is going to be up there this next year. So we're looking forward to that too. Jason, it's all yours. And you're muted still.
I'll mute myself to keep from making any bad noises back here. I just want to thank Jordy for what they're doing, because I have been to the Bethesda Church and I have been there for their services, and I've been through the church and I have been through the cemetery, and the work that is being done up there is very important work. You know, when you go in there that you are looking and you're touching and you're in a piece of history. And I want to thank you, Jordy, and the Bradford-Rose Camp, 1638, for getting out there and getting everything done. And y'all are taking care of it. And I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This commercial break is sponsored by SCV Chat. You can support SCV Chat by going to scvchat.com, or you can go to patreon.com and find SCV Chat on there. They have several different levels that you can support SCV Chat. They have one that's called Feed a Moose. Okay. If you saw last night's episode, you know that our friend Harrison Dawes, the Moose, was working on the farm yesterday and fell off a fence. So if you feel a little pity for him, you can go and pay $2 a month, and it's called Feed a Moose. Yeah. And then honestly, that amount does help quite a bit. And then you have the $10 level, and that $10 level gets you mentioned as a Patreon member. Mm-hmm. And with this being a Patreon member, your name, all of that will scroll along the bottom. Everybody will see that you're part of this organization and that you are helping to keep this organization going. Because as you can tell, my camera is not as good as John Blankenship and Jordy Barnette's. So I'm going to have to invest in better lighting and a better camera and a better speaker system. So, and a better microphone, I should say. And all of this stuff takes time, it takes effort. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, the StreamYard subscription for a year is nearly $1,000. Mm-hmm. So it takes money to be able to get this going. And when you join the Patreon, you help that happen. And then they have a $30 a month level, and that's the merchandise level. And that is once you join that, every 3 months, you get something special. And Patreon sends it to you. Don't know exactly what it is because the SCV chat guys don't know, and they can't get it unless they join at the merchandise level. Yeah. And then if you are, if you want to do this, let's say where this commercial break, this is sponsored by Chris Cummins. I know Chris. Mm-hmm. And he's a good doctor. He's a good guy, Absolutely. And he was on, when I was commander in chief, he was on one of my committees, very good man. And they say that he is a very good knee guy. So I told him
for a little while down here by me for a couple of years before he made it back to Mississippi. So I got to meet him several times. Good guy. And we appreciate him sponsoring SCV Chat.
Yes, he does. And he does that at the $80 a month level. And that shows you that he's committed to what we're doing. And, if you have any knee pains or you need to see a doctor, go see Chris Cummins. He's an SCV member and he's a SCV Chat sponsor. Commander Blankenship, I'm going to turn it back over to you, sir.
All right, Jason, thank you so much. We'll be back with Jordy Barnette and Jason Boshers and myself right after this break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
And welcome back into Tennessee Tuesday. Again, thank you so much for watching with us this evening as we jump back into the program. Jordy Barnette, who is the camp commander of the Bradford-Rose Camp in Morristown, Tennessee, and joins us this evening along with my co-host, Jason Boshers. And guys, been a beautiful West Tennessee day. How's it up in East and Middle Tennessee?
Well, if you want me to, I'll go first.
Yeah, definitely.
Middle Tennessee has just been absolutely gorgeous today. We started out about 61 degrees at about 6:15 this morning. We reached a high of, I think, 86 or something like that. When we had a good breeze blowing most of the day, clouds are in and out. It was really a beautiful day, and you're really starting to get a sense that fall is just around the corner when you start getting into the nighttime. Yes.
Absolutely. Jordy, what's it like up there? And I'm going to say it's in Confederate East Tennessee. How about that?
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty much the same. We had a little bit of rain kind of start coming through, but just enough where we had a bunch of rainbows come through the sky. And, you can definitely tell on the farm this cooler weather's coming in. All the animals are acting up, and all the lambs that we've got born on the farm are enjoying this cooler weather. So, but we had a pretty day.
Yeah, it's definitely been gorgeous. Fall is here, guys, and lots of stuff going on. And it's been perfect weather, Jordy, for something you guys have got going on there at the camp and also at the Longstreet Museum. Going back, man, what's it been, 5 years ago, close to now, you started this project to erect this monument there at the Longstreet Museum.
When was not, I know the division reunion was at camp last year or the year before.
It would have been
in
in
this year.
2021. We had it 2021 here, I think, when you were in the process of raising funds then.
We got the funds for the statue. And then I think it was maybe a year before that's when it actually officially started. It started in COVID. I know that much because I think that's when, we thought COVID's around, no one's doing anything, at least maybe our monuments would be safe. And then before you knew it, it was like, oh, it's okay to riot and tear statues down. COVID don't affect you. So then I think it was when they took down VMIs. I actually had COVID at the time, and I was like, I don't know. I can't keep pressing the angry face emoji on Facebook. And I'd been in contact with Monuments Cross Dixie before they even had 100 followers, I think. And absolute great people worked there. And I knew they had one more Durham, North Carolina replica. And my mind was like, well, if I can at least get this statue, let's see what happens. Let's maybe turn this anger into something positive. And I just called Mike Beck from the museum. I said, let's just say, what if I got a statue? Could we put on the grounds? He's like, if you can do it, it'll go there. And well, now it's finally happened. And so this was actually from our Christmas event this year. Our camp had a little replaying ceremony, and we wheeled Zeb outside for a little sunshine.
Well, let's talk about the monument itself there. The statue there, is it bronze? What's it made out of?
It's bronze. It is a 80% accurate replica of the Durham, North Carolina monument that was tore down in broad daylight. That's a more close up. The face is gorgeous.
So you guys have moved it around, I know, several times, and now you got a base we're going to talk about in a minute. So it's been inside, it's been outside, and it's been all over the place, hasn't it?
It's kept in storage inside as a display at the museum. But we've taken it we've had Hazard Fest when they used to have that. We've taken it to all the festivals around here. And he's definitely, I think he's been to a national reunion. He's actually been to the original location. He's been to Durham.
Wow.
They took him and wheeled him in front of when the pedestal was still there. And I think he's been to a few more places in Alabama. So he's ready for his permanent home. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he's getting sore. He's ready to settle in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk a little bit about us. Of course, we've seen a picture there of it, Jordy. Let's talk about the location it's going to go to now. What's the final plan here? And I'll kind of go through some of these pictures from the start, what you've been working on that. But you want to look at the groundwork first, or do you want to look at the base itself?
Let's go do the groundwork first, because that was the first step. Okay. So pretty much the biggest thing with this issue, so we did start in COVID trying to raise money for this. And so not only were we inactive, were there no festivals going on, but then once we kind of got where we could break ground, they are actually bringing in a 4-lane to this area. So we kind of were like, we knew where the board wanted it, where we wanted it closest to the road. So we had to wait for TDOT to be like, hey, you can have this much just in case they need to take part of the yard. And finally, it was kind of green lighted, and they're doing work on the museum right now with the foundation and the siding. And while the work crew was there, the pretty much the staff at the museum was like, "Hey, can you dig us a hole real quick?" And so I got a text saying, "Hey, here's your base," and I'm like, "When can the concrete be delivered?" And before I knew it, there was a concrete truck there.
Well, and you can see there in that picture there they are pouring concrete at that base.
Yeah, I was actually at a sheep show showing livestock, and we were trying to get everyone rushed there. We did get the supplies there, and we were told one thing, and before we knew it, everyone at the museum was like, "They're about to pour now. We got to build this real quick." So I was getting updates while I was in Knoxville, and but it all worked together, and that's the final when it was finally poured. And you can see the road more on that side, and I mean that's going to be a 4-lane, and there's actually a UDC marker further down that way that was dedicated in the 20s, and we're hoping to get that relocated onto the property as well.
And here's another view where you can see the house and the museum. They're kind of behind it. Yeah,
that's the museum, and you further back behind on the right left side of the chimney, that's where they did the little bit of the foundation work. So there's been a lot, and today they were pressure washing, actually trying to get the siding finished.
And we'll go ahead and here's a group of, I see Mike.
This is Kelly and Shane, and so it's Mike Beck and Kelly and Shane from the museum. They work there, and Shane has actually been the one that has got us in contact with the pedestal. We've actually had them pretty much anchored into this program for years. He said, "Hey, what about this block?" And we'll get a little further what this block is, but he said this would be perfect. And so he's really been the go-to. And Kelly, bless his heart, he's wheeled Zeb around more than I think some of us camp members with helping us get him moved into the trailer and back in the museum. But this is the truck that finally got delivered. This picture was taken right in front of our flagpole. Not only do we fly a 3rd National at the mass grave, but the museum flies a 2nd and Army of Northern Virginia flag all year round, even when the museum's closed in the wintertime.
Let's look at one. Here's some of the base. A very unique looking base. I like it. Looks good.
So pretty much this is like if you were to buy a retaining wall for anything or kind of want to divide something up. You've seen them around in parking lots where you kind of divide parking. You don't want someone coming by. But this has a castle-like texture to the side. It's a little more ornate. And so all these pieces are going to connect together pretty much like Legos. And so all you have to do is just get the equipment, stack them on top, and you've got you a pedestal.
So, Jordy, how tall are they going to be? I see that picture there. Is that the main height, 2 of them stacked? Is that the highest point they'll be, or they're going taller than that?
They're going to be 8 foot tall.
Okay. Oh, wow. So it's
so pretty much each block is a level.
Okay.
So it's going to be last time when we talked, it's going to be 8 foot tall, and then the Zeb is 6 foot tall.
Definitely impressive. It's going to be a good-looking monument. So
that doesn't do it justice. That does not. It is much bigger. I was able to stand, and I think my shoulder was a little bit over the bar. Yeah, that picture don't even do it justice.
So what's the total weight on Zeb himself, and what kind of weight's involved in this whole thing?
He's about, I'd say about 100-something pound, maybe a little. He's not terrible. We've been able to move him around. Two people can lift him, and one person can roll him around on a dolly. He's hollow inside. His gun is solid. It's not got as much detail because by the time they wanted to copy this, the statue was destroyed, the original. And so they did all shots, but there was no aerial shots. So you had all shots looking up at him. So they were like, we'll just copy. Well, by the time they got him done, they found out the same company that made this monument made one in a county over. And they said they went to it and they said, well, we were about 80% accurate on how he looked. And I think they made 3 and we got the last one.
Jordy, let's talk about, you've been raising funds for this. What kind of cost is involved if somebody else wanted to do something like this? It's not cheap by no means.
No, and I don't want to discourage.
Yeah.
We have too many people that want to discourage these projects. We don't need to discourage them ourselves. There were probably plenty of people that were like, you're stupid for doing this. And it really was me having a temperature and having COVID that probably got me to actually do this. But I was tired of being angry with it. I was tired of being the, well, woe is us. They're just tearing things down. But it does cost a lot. You can't get one his size for the price I got him for now. Unfortunately, tariffs have really hurt Monuments Across Dixie and everything. But
now, what kind of money for just the statue would somebody be investing in one?
For his size would be probably, I think last time I was quoted, it's going to be $10,000.
Oh wow!
But that's with the shipping and stuff. But now they're 4 foot tall. If you watched Monuments Across Dixie, they have multiple ones that are now 4 foot tall. They're still gorgeous. The detail, they did a VMI replica a few years ago, and a Forrest and Lee. And there's some more that I know he's working on. He hasn't really showed me, and they're actually working on a Charlottesville Lee replica. And that is an absolute wonderful program to get behind. The fact that there is going to be that one, because that one is gone. There's we're hoping one day these cities, like it seems like you've seen here recently, the cities are just giving them up, and especially the park in North Carolina. That's absolutely done an amazing job. The name escapes me right now. That's got like 5 on their property, and they're getting 2 more. I'm hoping that happens, but with the Charlottesville Monument, that's not happening. But they're working on getting a replica, and it's almost close to being finished, as far as I know. But money-wise, the base with concrete, that was the biggest issue. But you can work around it. There was a camp that did a giant, one of those big boulders that you see in front of like restaurants and stuff, and they placed a monument on top of it. So you just have to work with what you can do. But I'm telling you, we're not a huge camp. We started during the absolute worst time ever. Not only was it anti anything Southern, there was no place to sell things, but we made it happen. And so even if it's a small monument or a large one, every monument counts. Monuments matter. And so money-wise, you just kind of have to sit down and you have to adapt with it. Because one minute we're thinking we're going to spend, I think, $5,000 on a pedestal, and then we actually got it cheaper because we went this route.
Yeah. I like the base, the pedestal that it's going on. I guess those are, like you said, like a retaining wall type base.
Yes. Yeah, all it is a retaining wall, and they lock together. And then there's actually going to be a hole in the center that we've got to fill with gravel, and it's got enough space for a time capsule. So we're kind of now having to work with that. And so I think the only thing that's going to be just a little bit more hands-on is we have to build our own top for it to bolt him to. So it's getting done. So there's been a lot of work in the last few weeks. And so we're really excited.
So, Jordy, what's the plan now? You said you've got to have the new top put on to set the statue on. Do you have a time frame you'd like to have him completely set up?
By April 18th. No, pretty much. I believe before the winter starts, we should have him done. Right now, I mean, I'm telling you, I've had money. I've had even money in my safe that I've raised personally. I've been selling my own stuff and it's going out the door. We're finally writing checks to these things, and I'm so excited. And so it's happened a lot quicker than I thought. And the staff I can't say this enough, the staff at the museum have absolutely been a godsend. They know that this is going to be a perk. This is going to be a big, big lot to the museum. Like, hey, that's a museum. Because unfortunately, we still have people in our community that's like, oh, I didn't know that was a museum, even though you see a big museum sign. But, hopefully a big statue will finally help them realize it's a museum.
Same thing here. We've got a local history museum that's been here for 40 years, and people that have been here for 40 years didn't know it was even in existence. So that's something we're challenged with every day to promote what we do. And this is a good way to do it. I mean, that's going to make an impact, and you're going to see that.
Yeah, especially when they bring that 4-lane in there. He's right there he's staring the traffic down. And so we're really excited. I can't wait to see him up there.
Well, Jordy, do you still need any help with it? If folks want to donate towards the project and help with that project, do you need any assistance still?
Oh, yeah. Does anyone have a few $1 million? I'll make him bigger.
Put up a few more of those, line the property with them.
Hey, we can stack as tall of those block as we want. So if someone wants to donate a few more blocks, that'd be great. In all seriousness, yes. Right now, we just want to make sure we have a little extra money to kind of work out the deep kinks, because unfortunately concrete is so expensive, and then we're having to hire some people to do things that we can't do. If you'd like to make a donation, my P.O. Box is 214 Bulls Gap, Tennessee 37711. And I set up that P.O. Box when we first started, so that, you never know, someone might send a bomb through the mail or something like that. Or I was like, I might want to do something. So
that P.O. Box is nicer than your home address. How do they need to make a check out if they're sending you a check, Jordy?
Bradford-Rose SCV 1638, or you can make it out to me, Jordy Barnette, or either or, because it's all going to the camp's monument fund, and we've been keeping it all in a separate account, and it's all worked out great. And now that account's getting smaller and smaller because we're paying. We've had a good amount of money for a while, and just adding it to it, we've just been mainly fighting the road department. And now that it's finally happening, so we're still in good shape, but we could always use a little extra just to kind of help in case there's a hiccup down the road.
Absolutely. So the plan is to have it ready for the Tennessee Division reunion in April. I'm guessing you're planning a dedication there, and you mentioned a time capsule. Are you going to have to do that now and have that in there, or what's your plans there?
Yeah, it's going to be underneath his feet, so it's actually going to be already sealed. We'll probably do, and that's the thing. This was just kind of talked when we had our museum board meeting. I admit, he's like, "You do know you can put a time capsule in this thing." I was like, "That would be really cool." So that's just kind of something we're talking about to kind of get done. But it'll already be done, and it'll be more of a camp and our UDC chapters putting some items in. But no, the plan is to have the dedication after the business session at the reunion, have everyone there. So then, you don't have to come to the reunion and then come back later for a dedication. We want to just have it all one fell swoop.
Yes. And what's that P.O. Box again? I'm going to put it on the banner scrolling across.
214 Bulls Gap, Tennessee 37711.
Okay.
All right. So a great project going on. Jordy, you've worked for years at this, and it's coming. It's a reality now, and I'm sure you're excited by seeing your photographs on social media. I know you're thrilled that it's finally happening and it's getting put up. Great work to you guys there in Morristown.
The P.O. Box is under my name, so if you have to put that, it's the checks will go to Bradford-Rose. P.O. Box is Jordy Barnette, P.O. Box 214.
Got you.
We really appreciate it, and I'd like to go ahead and thank the division. The division has been an absolute godsend to this project as well. They've really believed in us, and our division, we're really blessed to have the division that we're in. And when it comes to projects, our division is not stingy. They want to support camps. And I'm very grateful to all the past commanders that we've had because we went through a few during this project. So I'm very appreciative of the division, and I love the fact that we can share this with them during our reunion.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to go ahead and we'll take another break. Jordy, let's come back and talk a little bit about the Tennessee Division reunion as we wrap up this evening, and how folks that are maybe division members that want to attend and what you got planned. So we'll go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back right after this. Jason, any words you got before we need to go into the break?
Justin, I'm thrilled with everything that he's told me here. And I think, and I like to pop Carl Jones' comment back up there. Excellent project and timely. I consider this a huge victory for our heritage. Now, to me, and everybody loves flag parks, and I love flag parks as well as anybody, but a monument is something that is completely different. And, you're looking at this could be, I'm hearing $15,000 for a 6-foot-tall bronze statue. Yep. With the tariffs, I'm hearing $15,000 for that. You're looking at anywhere around $5,000 for a base, so that puts you at $20,000. And then all these miscellaneous costs, Okay, people get scared when they start talking about 25 or 30,000. But if you start raising the money for it now, and you keep doing this, and now things are going to pick up for you because you've started doing work and people are starting to see it. It's no longer lip service. It is actually, the ground's being dug up, whether you dug it up with a shovel or a backhoe,
Yeah.
And you're doing all of these things. And I'm proud of the camp. And Carl Jones is Army of Tennessee commander. He is very, very correct on this. This is an excellent project. And to have the Longstreet Museum there with this monument, with the UDC monument, to have all of that on the same property, I think speaks volumes for what the Bradford-Rose Camp 1638 in Morristown, Tennessee has accomplished. That's all I have to say about it.
That picture of when you see the back end of the museum, that is our Monument Avenue. So we are going to turn that into our monument park. So there is room to grow to put even more markers and, who knows, even flagpoles or whatever.
Yep.
So that's what we want to do, is just to keep growing this. So, who knows, there might be a camp that has ancestors that fought in that area during that time. They say, hey, can we put a marker up there? The board is all open to stuff like this. And so that's it. That's going to be our new Monument Avenue.
Absolutely. Great work, Jordy. We appreciate you. Stay with us. We're going to come back. We'll talk a little bit about the Tennessee Division Reunion for 2026 and more on Tennessee Tuesday on SCB Chat. We'll be right back.
When my mother was in college, she danced with Confederate veterans. To me, it wasn't that far away. My father knew this. My mother knew this. Almost 50 years ago, I joined the Sons of Confederate Veterans. In those days, we weren't concerned about saving monuments or any of those things. That wasn't necessary. In fact, none of us had any remote idea that it would ever come up. We can't just sit there and react. We have to be proactive. Or, as Robert E. Lee said, the best way to disrupt your enemy's plans is to strike first. Everyone should do all in his power to collect and disseminate the truth, in the hope that it may find a place in history and descend to posterity. History is not the relation of campaigns and battles and generals or other individuals, but that which shows the principles for which the South contended and which justified her struggle for those principles. If you're looking for some place to be where you think you're going to accomplish something to save our history, go to the Sons of Confederate Veterans. I'm Thomas Lee Jesse. I'm a descendant of Private Daughtery Gilmer, a Confederate veteran.
Tennessee Tuesday continues here on SCB Chat. I'm your host, John Blankenship, joined by my co-host, Jason Boshers, and our guest this evening is Jordy Barnette, who is the camp commander of the Bradford-Rose Camp in Morristown, Tennessee. He's been our guest all evening. We've been talking about a cemetery walk. We've talked about a Confederate monument. Man, Jordy, just an applause to you for the great work you're doing in the camp up there.
Well, I couldn't do it without the camp. I'm truly blessed, and I'm not worthy to be commander of such great men that I'm commander of. I've got great members, and then, of course, the shout out to our lovely ladies of the Sam Davis UDC chapter. We actually we couldn't do a lot without them.
Well, my question is for you, Jordy, how do you keep Mike Beck straight? How's he treating you?
If you want to make a donation for me to have to keep him straight, you're going to write a big check. P.O. box is on the street. I'm telling you, Mike has been wonderful through this project. He's one of those that's kept me. He's like, you do know this is blah blah blah, and I'm like, we're going to try. And I think, I mean, if he didn't have green lighted this and said, sure, if you make a monument, we'll put it up, we would have been here. And Mike's truly, as soon as we started getting momentum, Mike was very much saw what it actually could become and everything. So, we got to keep him straight, but we couldn't do a lot without him.
A lot of wisdom there, Jordy. Of course, he's past Tennessee Division Commander, served 3 terms. And when I got into the SCV, he was Division Commander. Have learned a lot from him. I know I can call on him for wisdom. If there's concerns in the division and our organization, he'll say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And just his knowledge of the organization itself and what he did in the division, developing it to where it is today, we can still see that strong. So we appreciate all Mike Beck does. Well, let's talk a little bit now about our Tennessee Division reunion. It's coming up in April 2026. Jordy, it was a lot of fun hosting it here in Humboldt this year. Now we're sending it from West. It's going to go up to East Tennessee. Let's talk a little bit about it. I'm going to put the poster up here that you can kind of see some of the basics of it. That's found on our TennesseeSCV.org website if you want to go register. Let's talk a little bit about what's planned up there for the weekend, Jordy.
Well, it's going to be at the Landing in Morristown. It's a big community center they just built. And we had our meeting a few months ago and got everything kind of straightened out. And what I liked about the whole situation, and I wish I'd remembered to send you some photos I had of the inside of the building, but we have our own access to the room. And then so you can have your own entrance. So because there's a lot of people that go. And so I was like, it's going to be a little chaotic, but once we got there, they're like, no, we've built this for conventions and all this stuff. And so you're perfectly for it. So we have our own entryway to where we're going to have our meetings, and the award banquet has its own balcony looking over the city.
Oh, wow.
And we're working with local government and stuff to kind of get to where we can get people to the museum. So there's a lot of things happening with it. When Mike brought it up that he wanted to, that they were kind of like, hey, you all need to host it. It's like, does anyone else want to be commander during this? But I'm telling you, I'm super excited. I've not been to, with a lot of family things going on, I've not been able to go to a reunion in a few years. And so I'm so excited that bring everyone to my hometown and kind of show off everything that all these other camps and all these other members have inspired us to be. I mean, it has been a team effort. I'll keep telling members, it's like, you've all not been to a reunion. You need to see our brothers that have done. You need to talk to them. And it's nice that we all can come together and fun and fellowship and kind of talk about pretty much our ancestors and what we're doing to preserve everything.
And as you said, the reunions, they really are just that. Yeah, we have our business meetings of the division, but it is really a time. We talk to each other by social media now so much in text, but to get together in person and reminisce. And as you said, we talk about our ancestors, that thing that we all have in common is Confederate ancestors. It's just a really worthwhile weekend. And if you've never been to a division reunion or you've never been to a national reunion, I encourage you to try to make plans to go to one. It's a good time. You'll enjoy it. And coming in Morristown, I know Mike Beck has told us some, Jordy, about these new facilities that are being built. Y'all have had a couple of new hotels, I believe, being built and underway. And this one we're going to be at, you mentioned, it's brand new, right?
Yeah, it's a few years old. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful inside, and they have been absolutely accommodating. They want us there, which is so nice because, I was like, oh, we're going to go to this big event. They're going to be like, we don't want you. And that's not the attitude we received. Yeah. And then the hotels are going to be brand spanking new. And then, of course, you've got all the restaurants there. We've boomed the last few years in our community. So you've got tons of stuff to do. So bring the family, bring their wives and everything. And, we got plenty to do. And then there's so much stuff to do at the Landing. And there's going to be some I think there's pools and stuff like that. There's a walking center in there. My words are stumbling a little bit, but, and climbing, there you go. And so there's plenty of stuff for kids to do. And I believe there's going to be a deal done if for a price you can come in and bring your kids and stuff. So there's plenty of stuff for everyone while you're doing SCV business for the family to have a really good time as well. Absolutely
going to be a great weekend. And as we put there up on the screen, you can see a little bit more of the application. If you go to our Tennessee Division website, TennesseeSCV.org, you'll see that registration for the evening. There's the cost and everything, what it includes. And again, Jordy, it's super affordable. One of the, I'd say, and I hate to use the word cheap because it sounds cheap, but one of the most affordable reunions that we've seen in several years.
Well, that's something we really wanted to work towards, was having just a simple cost for this event. You kind of, with anything really, you do, not just reunions, you add this, and before you know it, it's like, So we just kind of wanted to help out. We've had a lot of good support from people saying, no, we're going to help with paying with this. So I really hope everyone can come, because I don't know when the last reunion was where you got to go to a Confederate monument dedication.
Yeah.
So
that's a new one.
A little cap in our feather for this reunion. So we're very excited. So I hope everyone, and if you can make it, please send in your applications, so we can kind of get the financial stuff figured out. And also, we are still doing the memorial in the book. So please bring in your ancestor memorials and or anyone ancestor or any memorial you want to put in.
Well, Jordy, you mentioned the financial side of it. Me and Jason have both hosted a couple of division reunions. I've done a couple. Jason's done one. So some of those registrations come in a little late. Don't be too nervous. It'll all happen. It'll all come together.
I'm one of them too. So don't. I can't really.
As well.
Yeah, I'm kind of a hypocrite. So.
I gave mine when we were in Humboldt.
Now listen to him now.
Ask him. Ask Joshua Cameron. Ask Joshua Cameron. I handed it to him because I know what that's like to have to put one on, and you don't. Hey, we're having to shell out this money, and you don't know. Yeah. Okay, are we gonna have enough come in to cover it? And sometimes you need enough just to get started. And, that's the thing that after I hosted one, I thought, and involved in several national reunions.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take my stuff and sign up while I'm there for the next one. And I never have to worry about it. Yeah.
And Jason, you do that. You've done that in Columbia for me here in Humboldt this last year. So you take care of them early. We could learn something from the old guy, Jordy.
Yes. Old and wise.
That's it. Good time coming up again. TennesseeSCB.org is where you can go get the registration and go ahead and get your division registration in for the reunion coming up in April there in Morristown. Jordy, anything else we need to mention before we wrap up this evening about the Bradford-Rose Camp? Anything else you guys got coming up?
We're going to be at a few festivals. We got a festival in Grainger County this weekend. We're going to be setting up. I did have a little note. Derek Glover actually I'm also in charge of our leadership ag award, William Hicks Jackson ag award.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he wanted me to go and spread this to the division. He has donated $200 to the ag award. And he says to any camp that has never given an ag award, the first 10 camps that sign up, he will pay for your first ag award. And so we really appreciate him doing that. If you know of a student that's involved in agriculture, this is a great award. I've done it for many years now, and Josh finally passed everything. I'm now fully in charge of it. And this is another way for us to get into communities. And it's not just for students. We've adapted it for adults. So if you know of a farmer, an ag teacher or anything, this is a great opportunity to kind of tip your hat at them and say, thank you for supporting us. Because much like history, like I say, when I give out one, ag is stereotyped and does not get the love it deserves. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate our brother from giving that, and I wanted to kind of spread the word. First 10 camps that sign up, that's never given an ag award before, your first award is free. So we appreciate you, brother, for that.
Man, that's very generous of Derek doing that. Again, he does a great work. Very generous to our organization. We appreciate him. And you mentioned giving it to adults as well. That's something when we gave one a few years ago here, our camp did, Jordy. We gave it to a local farmer who was on a television program a few years ago, and he was very appreciative that he's got Confederate ancestors, and hopefully in time he'll join. So we opened a door there. I think that's important.
And that's the biggest thing. I mean, I gave out awards, and pretty much the person that's in charge of the school systems and the principals, they hear the word Confederate veterans, and this is a Confederate general, and so you say the words, and I'm kind of ducking my head. I'm like, okay, but no, we've been, and I've got wonderful people within the community that say, no, we're going to get you in, and we're going to have you where. And then also I give out awards while I'm showing livestock. So you can give it anywhere. that's the best perk about sports. So if they ever kick me out, they're not going to stop me. I'm going to keep giving them out. I'll just go out to the fairgrounds or to the farm. And that's the beautiful part about this award.
Jordy, if they want to give that award, they're a camp in the division. How do they just need to reach out to you directly?
They need to reach out to me directly. My email's on the division page. It's jbarnett1994@gmail.com, and just tell me the name of the student or adult that you want it, and just send once again to the same P.O. box. You can send me the money, and I'll get you your award mailed out to you, or hopefully can give it to you at an event or something. So next year at the reunion, get your names, and I will have them all printed out for the division reunion and get you your challenge coin, and we'll just save on postage.
Hey, that helps. I appreciate that. Good work there. And we just saw the comment from Chuck that Jason just had up there. He attended, I know, in Humboldt, and I appreciate Chuck coming down to one of the division reunions. Always fun to see Chuck. He's been involved and came to our DEC meeting just recently, and appreciate the work he's doing there in Lebanon, and Tom Wood's camp there in the Hatton camp. Again, if you've never been to a division reunion, guys, it's important to come to those. You get to meet your fellow SCV members. You get to learn history, have a good time, enjoy some good food. And also, if you're a camp in the division, or maybe you're in another division outside of Tennessee watching, consider hosting your division reunion. It's not only beneficial for what we just talked about, the fellowship, but if you do it right and plan right, you can raise a few dollars for your local camp to help with projects. And it's been good for us to do it a couple of times in Humboldt, which has helped towards some cemetery projects we had going here.
Yeah. And you can make a little bit of money, but Chuck Roydhouse is correct.
Yeah.
The whole point of all of this is, well, there's one thing. First of all, is to remember your ancestor and to promote the organization. And then second part is getting us everybody together. And then the fellowship that comes with that. Making money is nice. Yeah. But those other ones are the reason why you do it. You just hope you don't lose money.
Yeah.
How about that?
And again, as we said, it's a business decision, but I want to mention again, those funds that we bring back in, it helps us do these projects to honor our ancestors. And that's the reason why we wanted to do that. And something, Jordy, you mentioned you get to set up a monument and dedicate it. So exciting. For 2 times, I got to get all of our guys together in front of our monument here in Humboldt and have a photograph around it in our city park. Those are something I've got framed on the walls, things that I'll cherish the rest of my life, to be able to get good Confederate guys together and honor our Confederate soldiers. That's what it's all about. That's what we do.
That's the thing with this whole project. I mean, you can't keep just being, it's been said on SCV chat, if not now, when, if not us, who. And I'm absolutely touched every time I get a text message and they're like, hey, another piece has been delivered. I get a little choked up, because this has been, we're not putting it up just to trigger someone. If we were, I could have done something a whole lot cheaper and it had been up 4 years ago. This is for our ancestors. This is for everyone's ancestors, for the men that were on the grounds at the museum. It's also to promote the museum. I mean, it is absolutely wonderful. And once again, thank you to the division for absolutely being a helper in this financially, spiritually. You've all helped us with just cheering us on. James Patterson was one of our first cheerleaders when we were trying to get the money for the statue. He was like, first the nomination, and I've got a list. I'm trying to get everyone's names that's ever helped, even donating 20. We started with $20 a head. We were like, hey, give us $20 if we get so many people. And I had people sending in $100 bills, and it's like, everyone that's donated, God bless you so much that this could happen.
Absolutely. Well, Jordy, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Again, know the door is always open. Anytime you guys have something going on, you want to be on with us, just feel free to reach out to me or Jason. We'll be happy to have you on anytime.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and take one quick break, Jason. Here and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up a couple of things in the division going on that we want to mention before we wrap up this Tuesday show. We'll be back right after this.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Welcome back into Tennessee Tuesday on SCV Chat. John Blankenship, your host, along with co-host Jason Boshers, and Jordy Barnette has been our guest from the Bradford-Rose Camp in Morristown. Again, Jordy, thank you for joining us this evening. And good stuff you guys have got coming up. And Jason's put on the screen there again if they want to donate towards the monument project there, or they need to reach out to you. Easy to do. It's right there on the screen. And again, thank you so much and appreciate all your work.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor.
Absolutely. Well, last couple of things we got to mention before we get on out of here. We want to shout out to a couple of other camps, and some of these things have been shared on social media and have been sent in to me. So we want to mention these, our friends up in the new camp, the Huddleston Poor Camp in Byrdstown, 2359. They were recently there at the Travisville Community Church, did a cleanup and landscaping project at the church, and they shared on their post the first official shots were fired in Tennessee. There. So they've been helping there. And here's another photo of them working. Good things the SCB does with projects like that, guys, and getting out in the community and helping other organizations and our churches as well. And it's so important. And we appreciate the new camp there in Byrdstown that's just been going for a few months and doing good work. Also, we've got this photo here. Rich Garcia, our lieutenant commander of the Tennessee Division, along with David Daniels in that photograph. They were, of course, in Gainsboro Invincibles Camp, 1685. They were at the Baxter Harvest Festival. And there's one of our division recruitment booths and for their camp as well. And Rich does a great job, guys. If you've been following Rich for a while, he's all over the South and promoting our heritage. You've seen the videos that we've shared here on the channel, of course, and a great work Rich and the Gainsboro camp there is doing, being at all these festivals. Rich is really traveling all over the country.
Yes.
And the last thing I've got to mention here before we wrap up is the Champ Ferguson Standing Stone Camp 2014 is having their 204th birthday celebration for him. That's coming up on November the 29th. So I know that's a little ways down the road, but we want to make sure that's out there. That's at 10 a.m. And if you're on our division Facebook group there, you've seen that, and there will be more information about that. And that's being shared around. So make your plans if you're not doing anything on November the 29th to come out and be a part of that event. Well, gentlemen, that's some of the things we got going on. Jason, you got anything else you want to include? I think you've got something. Is there something coming up at General Headquarters this weekend?
Yes, sir. It sure is. We have the General Executive Council meeting. That is going to be Saturday, October the 3rd. Saturday, October 4th. Excuse me. Friday is the 3rd. So Saturday, October 4th, we'll be gathering in the library inside the museum. We'll start somewhere around 8:30 or so. You'll need to be there by 8, in case we need to start earlier. Sure. And that way so you can meet everybody. Now, if you are a member in good standing, the General Executive Council meetings are open for you to attend. and you can sit through all of it and hear all of it, except for if we have to go into executive session on anything.
Sure.
So if we just have a regular business session, you can sit through all of it. Now, my camp, Sam Watkins Camp number 29, is going to be hosting a car show. Yes, sir. I think you and I both clicked at it at the
same time.
Yes, sir, we did. Good minds think alike, and I'm sorry for that for you. But that is this coming Saturday. This is the first annual Southern Showdown. We had it last year. We had a different name, and we thought we're going to separate it out a little more. This was one that we were going to have during the pilgrimage and homecoming on May 3rd. And if you were at the pilgrimage and homecoming, it was raining sideways during that. So we had to cancel it. We rescheduled it to this because last year we held it on on the first Saturday in October, which is the GEC meeting. We had a great turnout. You can come on out. Of course, the museum's going to be open. You'll be able to go through the gift shop. You'll be able to see some cars. And then if you want to set in on the GEC meeting, if you're a member in good standing, you can join in.
It's going to be a big time this weekend. A lot going on there in Columbia at headquarters. We were just there a couple of weekends ago for our DEC meeting, and applause to Adam Southern and all his staff there for the work they do at headquarters, and the new member that's just joined us as a staff member to help on Saturdays and help out. Got to meet him, so we appreciate all the work that they're doing.
May I say something about that? People have been saying we need to be open on Saturday. We need to be open on Saturday. And we have started opening on Saturday. Now I'll go ahead and I'll go and lay the history out so everybody knows where it came from. We couldn't because we had the museum debt. The museum debt got off of us in December of last year, and they're saying, well, you can go ahead and open on Saturday. No, we could not, because we still had to operate under the budget that we approved last year. It went all the way up till we approved the new budget. When we approved the new budget, in that, it said that we could hire people. We had money budgeted to hire somebody. And as you know, it takes a little while to get somebody good and qualified for one of these positions. We can't just have anybody coming in on this. So we found, because they said, well, you can get a volunteer. No, because you're going to be handling monies. You have to be an employee because you have to be bonded. So we had to hire somebody. Now we've got somebody hired, and there hasn't been that many people showing up on Saturday. I'll just go ahead and tell you, because Adam and I did it one time before. We hired somebody, and nobody showed. And it was a nice day. So I just want to tell everybody, spread the word. You want it to be open on Saturday? We're open on Saturday. Please make use of it. And come up
on a Saturday and plan you a visit up to Columbia. There's plenty of stuff to do in Columbia after you go through the museum. Spend some other dollars there locally and support Maury County.
Absolutely. Come up there. Some of them were saying, hey, we want to get our camp together. Hey, rent you one of those little buses and get on the bus and bring the whole camp up there to see the National Confederate Museum, because it's your general headquarters. It's the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. This is your general headquarters. This is your hearth and home.
And Jason, so far that museum has come full circle since when it started with just a few items in there to being really full with the beautiful display cases and the artifacts, and some really good artifacts that have been added. You have some generic stuff you start with, and then you get these really good things. And it's really developed. People are donating, people are loaning to the museum, and there's always room for more artifacts.
Very much so. I want to thank the Order of Southern Cross. I'm a member. Tom Wood's a member. There's several of us, and Derek Glover is a member. They were the ones that have gave the grant for us to be able to buy 20 cabinets so far. So when you come in and you see those 20 cabinets, that's from the Order of Southern Cross. We have artifacts in every one of those cabinets, and we have artifacts in the archives room that are ready to go out. Right now, with the floor plan that we have, we can add another 44 cabinets.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yes, sir, we can continue to grow this. And you're right. When we opened this, it was October 3rd of 2020. Larry McClooney was commander-in-chief at that time. He had just gotten elected in July. Larry McClooney was commander-in-chief when we opened the museum, October 3rd, 2020. And we had one piece of furniture in the whole museum, and that was the podium that we spoke from. And everything that you see there is due to our membership. We have not had an archives an artifacts fund, so we have not been able to buy artifacts. It's our membership. It's the United Daughters of the Confederacy. It's all these people that agree and they want their stuff on display, and they come there and see it. And yes, we have some very unique artifacts. There are other museums that have come in and seen our stuff and go, "Oh, I'd like that." You know, we have a pair of trousers that the Mississippi Division, actually Forrest Dahl's current Mississippi Division commander, purchased them and donated them. And there's a museum that come in practically drooled over them because they said that's the best pair of trousers they'd ever seen. You know,
and
so
Jason, you mentioned that acquisition fund, and that's something our camp donated to during the National Reunion. Being a historian and loving things like that, and knowing and operating other small museums, that's something to consider donating directly to. If you want your funds to help, maybe you don't have an item to give, you can go so we can, as these items we see come up at auction or through private sales, that we've got funds to grab that certain thing that comes up that, hey, we need that there's funds there to get those things.
Yes. And thank you for mentioning that, John, because people have been contributing to it. So it's not like we have zero, but we did not have enough in it to go get, true good artifacts. Expensive. They don't grow on trees. And when you've got the provenance and the history and all of that on it, it takes something to get them. And, so the numbers are going to have to get up to be pretty stout. And now that we have the museum debt off of us, if artifacts are your thing, okay. If you can buy something and donate it, wonderful. Yep. If you have something you want to donate, wonderful. If all you can do is, donate $10 a month to an artifacts fund, you can go on to scv.org, go to the donations page, have it automatically taken out every month, and you end up over a year's time giving $120 to be able to purchase artifacts. We have enough people doing that. We can purchase good artifacts.
And Jason, we talk about artifacts. It's something we all know about museums. I'm sure many of those are viewing. You don't want to have a stale museum. You don't want everything you got always on display, that it's always the same. That's the thing, is you grow this, you have things in your archive space, so they rotate out for special exhibits. So you're not seeing everything the SCV has. There are some things stored away. You
are very true. We want to get to the point that we are having to go through a cycling period. And to be honest, we want to fill it up with cabinets. We want to have good artifacts on display, and we want to have enough good artifacts and archives that we can start a special exhibit and rotate stuff in and out. Because we don't want people to come in and this cabinet has been this way for 10 years. Yeah. Well, if enough of those cabinets are that way, they're going to say, why am I going in? It's not changing. Yeah. But what if it's rotating? I hadn't been there in a couple of years. Yeah. And they go back and it looks different. Okay. They didn't have this here last time. That's the way we want it to be. Yes.
Jason, we want to mention our partnership with the Tennessee State Museum. We talk about rotating of artifacts, and that's something we work with Ashley and her staff there at the State Museum to get flags and other artifacts on a rotation through the museum.
And you're very correct. Ashley Howe and the Tennessee State Museum, they have worked wonderful with us. We got on a good working agreement with them a couple of years ago, and they loan artifacts, and they loan good artifacts. Yeah. The stuff that we've had come in, because we just they brought stuff down maybe a month and a half or so ago, and they already on display. It was enough to fill 2 cabinets. And then we had UDC Chapter 91 in Murfreesboro that they donated a lot of or put their stuff on loan, I should say. Tennessee State Museum did not donate anything to us. They just loaned it to us to put it on display. And it's the same with the United Daughters of the Confederacy. They loaned it to us to put it on display. And it's incredible the things we're getting in. And they have prominence to it. They are attached to a soldier. Like the drum. If you saw Monday night, last night, you saw Adam do his talk, and he talked about the drum. They know who carried it.
Yeah.
They know that he played it after the war when the veterans got together. And the drumsticks that are there with it were some of the last ones he ever played with. So when you start talking about that, that is a direct link to our Confederate forefathers.
Mm-hmm.
And that come from the UDC Chapter 91 in Murfreesboro. Tennessee State Museum, they brought flags down. They brought stuff down from Felix Zollicoffer. They brought us swords. They brought us Lamat pistols. All of this stuff to be able to put on display. And, we ask for things. And I think in time that we will, because each time they come, they talk about how much it has changed and how much it's improved. Yeah.
Jason, it's important to get our membership to think about this when you want to leave something in your will. Think of the Confederate Museum. We are the organization that should be telling the story of the Confederate soldier. We are the soldiers themselves that we know in the charge left it to us as the sons to tell their story. I'm glad to see the vision of Chuck McMichael and so many others, past Commander-in-Chief McMichael and his vision to see this happen, that we are telling the story of the Confederate soldier like it needs to be told. The politically correct are not telling it. We're getting the accurate history.
Well, the point at the very beginning was to tell the true and complete story, plain and simple. And, they were saying we couldn't do it. Well, we did it, and we're moving along well.
Yep.
So we've been open nearly 5 years, and we're growing. And we've had stuff come in lately. Stuff rotates in all the time. Mike Dunn gave a great artifacts for display, having to deal with Jefferson Davis, who is his guy,
Yeah.
And he went and he found this stuff that they were selling out of interstate, and he got it and he put it on loan there at the museum. And, thank Mike Dunn for that, because it's some cool stuff. Some of it was having to deal with his funeral, and where he was stopped here and there when he was traveling from New Orleans to Richmond. So, it's humbling to know that you're actually seeing and handling these things. And it really is good. Yes.
Well, again, we applaud, Jason, I applaud your work as past Commander-in-Chief of the organization. And, of course, Adam Southern is Executive Director. And the work you guys have done there locally, since you're in Murray County, of course, you're there active probably almost every day at headquarters doing something to help. Just applaud all the work so many have given of their time to make this a success. And I believe it is a success, and it's continuing to grow.
Yes, it is. And then you have men like Jordy that are out there. And, National Confederate Museum working with the Longstreet Museum is a huge deal. Yeah. And that's what we want to do. Because we have y'all's brochures on display. We have Longstreet Museum brochures in display at the museum, because all of the museums do need to be working together. And like the fact that we can work with the Longstreet Museum.
And that's something that Tennessee Division has done. We partnered with the Longstreet Museum, support what they do there, and a great work all you guys do. Well, gentlemen, we've gone almost an hour and a half. I said we'd be an hour tonight, and we've talked, and I think had a great program this evening. We do thank everyone for watching and listening to us tonight. I want to kind of promo what's coming up next week, Jason. I'm kind of popping this on you. Next week, you might have to be solo, because I have a political candidate forum I've got to host here in Humboldt. So I'm going to be away next Tuesday night. If you could swing it next week. And then the next week after that, October the 14th, James Patterson, a past Tennessee Division commander, is going to join us to talk about their camp and activities in Fayetteville, Tennessee. So we've got some good programs lined up for you the next couple of weeks, and we do hope you'll join us again. Jason, any final words? Jordy, anything else you'd like to leave with us?
Jordy?
I would just like to thank once again everybody that's helped us out. Thank you for having me, and God bless the SCV.
Absolutely. Jason, any final things you need to leave?
No, sir. I thank you, Jordy. I thank you for coming on and everything that you're doing. John, this is the purpose of doing this, to bring on and to highlight what the Tennessee Division is doing. And Jordy is setting an example with that. Just, so thank you, Jordy, for what you're doing. Yep. And I want to thank the Bradford-Rose Camp 1638 for what they're doing, because the one thing that I can tell you from my time in the chair, it's when you have good active camps that are out there, boots on the ground, getting the work done, we don't have near the problems. If we have an absent camp, or there is no camp, or the camp's infighting, But believe me, everybody in that county knows the Longstreet Museum. All of the people who matter know the Longstreet Museum. So you don't have to worry about them coming and butting heads with you, because you know they're going to be looking at, they know you're going to come back and say hi to them.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, thank y'all so much this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your time to be here with us. And thank you for watching online on our different outlets, such as SCV Chat's Facebook page, YouTube, also the Tennessee divisions. We appreciate the support of the division. Jason, in our DEC meeting, everybody nodded their heads. They appreciate the work we're doing, and we hope we live up to the expectation they have to be able to promote our organization and our Confederate ancestors. Again, we thank all the support of the sponsors of SCV Chat. Again, thank Harrison and Connor for their work and their vision to bring this to reality as well. And we'll be back with you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I hope you have yourself a great rest of this evening, everybody. God bless you.